Really?
No.
How different is it coming in and being head coach from the start, not just from training camp or, but knowing that you're coming in as head coach? What do you do differently?
Well, it's a big difference. Just having the summer in itself to put a plan together, to be able to put a staff together, and then work with that staff to figure out what direction we want to go. Have conversations with the front office about what we want the team to look like, the decisions that are going to be made around the draft and through free agency. It's completely different. It's exciting though. It's fun to actually have some time to sit down and think about what you want to do instead of just waking up one morning and have to do something. So it was great to have this summer. The funnest part to me was putting together a staff. We put together a really good group that I think is going to be together for a while and can really help this team.
JB, you had so many moving pieces to a new team, and I know you were excited about piecing it together. But now as you hit the floor, is there enough time in training camp? And how important does this training camp become to kind of get this as a cohesive unit going into the season?
Well, I think the training camp is going to be huge for us. But one of the things I think will make it easier is the type of people that we put in place here. From our draft picks to the free agents, we put together guys who have extremely high IQ and have the ability to pick up things quickly. So when you get a group of guys like that together, you don't have to take baby steps. When you put together guys who have some experience, you can throw things at them because they've already seen things, and you can move a little more quickly. We also put together guys that are very unselfish. So you don't have to break down any of those habits of, a guy who thinks this is a good shot or, my shot's a better shot than your shot. We got guys who came in here with the idea that, playing the game the right way is the right thing to do. So that makes it a lot easier on us as coaches and to build that chemistry. You don't have to worry about knocking down those walls.
When you have a team where its cornerstones are 30-something guys, people from the outside may not know the importance of how good they are. They're talking about maybe they're on the downslide. Of your thoughts on on Mike and Mark as both kind of hopefully put those injuries in their rear view and look forward to a healthy 2018.
Well, I think anybody who says that is wrong and hasn't paid enough attention to these guys throughout their careers. These two guys are two of the best players in the NBA, hands down. To have them have the level of experience they have, but the skill set, as well. Mark, how many guys are 7 feet tall with great touch, can pass the ball? There was times last year we had to play Mark, and he was bringing the ball up the floor. How many guys can say they've done that? How many guys can say they've been at that position of Defensive Player of the Year? So that's still there. It's still in them. There's no doubt about it. Mike Conley, obviously, to me, should have been an all-star multiple times. He just happened to be in a tough conference for that. But there's no more dynamic guard than Mike Conley in the league. He's got the ability to score the basketball. He's got the ability to play make, and he's got the ability to take over in fourth quarters when you need him most. And there's a toughness to both of those guys. You think about what Mike's been through, what Mark's been through, and they continue to show up. They continue to compete. And they're going to lead the way for that for us. We're going to be a tough team. We're going to be a team who every single night is not an easy out. And those two guys have proven that they can do it. They've proven that they can carry a team through those situations, and we don't expect anything less this year.
You've got also an interesting generation gap because you got Jaron there and Dylan and guys like that. How is that going to mesh, and do you see that the old and young fitting well on this team?
Well, I do, again, because of the type of people that we brought in, to be honest. Jaron and Dylan, Javon, those young guys are competitive guys. They're high basketball IQ. And they're unselfish guys. They're willing to learn. They know they don't have all the answers, and they're trying to get better. You think for a guy like Dylan, second-round pick, to come in and play all 82 games, guys don't do that too often. He did it, and he did it through a sheer willingness. He was injured at times, but he didn't take a step back. He didn't use it as an excuse. He went out and played, and that's how you gain those veteran guys' respect. And I think he's done that. And because of that, they're willing to carry him along and live with some of his younger mistakes that he may make. But because of his effort, his toughness, his willingness to be a part of the team, he's earned their respect.
Do you communicate differently to the Marks and Mikes of the world than the Jaron Jacksons of the world?
No, I think they all get it the same. I think the most important part is just being honest with all of them. And from there, your relationships start to build. And I think that for me, that's the most important thing to me, is being able to build relationships with guys. And the only way you can do that is being forthright with them, And, when I can coach guys hard because they understand that it's not a personal thing, we can get more out of them. So I try to spend as much time with the guys as I can and start to build that relationship with them early on.
JB, that youthful exuberance that Jaren brings, like, how does that help your team? How does it help the locker room? Like, we maybe think of, like, times maybe the team will be down. Do you think that'll kind of provide a boost?
Yeah, I mean, this is a long season. And, there's days where you're in back-to-backs or, fours and fives, whatever it may be. There's days where you don't want to be in the gym. And if you've got guys who are negative energy, who, are energy vampires, it makes the job more difficult. But when you got guys like Jaren who have that type of personality, who I've yet to see have a bad day, he makes everybody come to the gym, and he lightens the mood, not in a silly way or in an immature way, but just a positive energy that, guys can feed off of. And again, as a young guy, you got to figure out what you can do every single day that's going to help you contribute. And his energy level is going to be one of those things that helps him contribute. And, in small moments where we'll start to develop it, but it helps him become a leader as well.
How's Mike been looking so far in his recovery?
Great. He looks as quick as he's been. He looks as shifty as he's been. The shot looks great. His body looks good. I couldn't be more excited about where we are or where he is right now.
Where's do you know, like, what the plan is? Is he supposed to be going 100% out of the gate, or you going to try to work him back in?
Yeah, no, you give our performance team a bunch of credit. He's ready to go. There's no restrictions on him. Obviously, with his age and minutes that he's logged throughout his career, you're mindful of it. But right now, at this point, he's full go, and we expect him to be full go for our 2 days going forward.
How much easier is that for you guys? I know this has been kind of something that was looming for a couple seasons going in, that this is presumably a resolved issue.
I mean, again, when people talk about these free agent signings and all that, you'd be hard pressed to find a bigger free agent signing than us bringing Mike Conley back healthy. So I think there's a huge impact for us from that standpoint. When you got a guy that has not only a skill set but a mentality and a leadership like he does, it takes a ton of pressure off of everybody. It lets everybody else be who they are, and he can pick up and fill those gaps.
Chris called Kyle Anderson the biggest free agent, guy that you guys went after. When you did go after him, how much did you look at what Mike does and how that would kind of maybe help elevate Kyle's game as well?
Well, I think for us, the most important thing was just putting skilled guys on the floor. If you look at the NBA is throwing as many skilled players as they possibly can on the floor, and he's that. And skill can always complement skill. So whether, there was no concern or questions about how he would fit with Mike and Mark and those guys. We knew we needed his skill set, and his skill set could help everybody.
JB, how does this moment feel for you? Opening your first, this is the first time this is your training camp, your team, you're not interim coach. How does that feel just going into? Have you thought about it at all, or is it something now you've been the head coach for so long?
No, it's I think in May or whenever it happened, you have that thought, but from that point forward, it's just trying to figure out how we can do what's best for the team and the organization. You start with hiring a staff, so you don't really have time. If your focus is right, you don't have time to think much about yourself. I think there's so much more that goes on. There's so many things that are bigger than yourself that's where your focus goes. So for as long as, again, whenever the date was that it happened, my family was excited, I was excited, but then, it was time to put a plan in place to do what was best for this organization.
It's funny how it works. You go from being, you were once hot young coach, and then you do some interim stints, and you're like, oh, afterthought coach. I know you don't worry about that, but how do you view it? You've gone from one to the other.
You don't really pay attention to it, honestly. The people who you're with every single day, those are the people who judge you and have an accurate idea of who you truly are, especially as an assistant coach. Outside media and all these people that say, who the next hot young coach is, they don't watch you work every single day, so they truly have no idea who you really are. A lot of that is agent spin or whatever it may be. So you can't control it. To me, it speaks about the job that we did as a staff here last year to go through those difficult times and to be rewarded with a job.
Do you think you're a better coach now than you were when you were a hot young coach who'd never been an interim coach?
Well, yeah, there's no doubt about it. Once you get the experience of, sitting in that seat, you improve. There's so many things that happen to you when you're a head coach as opposed to being an assistant coach that you can't teach, you can't prepare for. You just have to go through it. And once you go through it, once, that might not be enough. You go through it 2 or 3 times, then you start to catch on. There is no substitute in this business for actually being a head coach and having that experience. Any assistant coach who tells you that isn't being truthful with you, or they just don't know. But sitting in that seat is completely different than what people may
How
see.
will it be different, though, having had a chance? This is now you get to go in with your group, your strat plans, everything, your team, your assistants. How different will that be for you?
I mean, it'll be extremely different, just from the standpoint of, to me, the most important thing is, being able to put together a staff and being able to put together a plan and then being able to go out and execute that plan. That's the fun part of coaching, and, that's why, we kind of do what we do, is to play that chess match and to be able to get 15 guys on the same page, working towards the same goal. That's exciting to me, and that's the reason why we do what we do.
You're one of the head coaches. There's a lot of diversity that's, with all these new head coaches that have come in this season. How important is that to this league to have that kind of variety in that head coaching spot?
I think it's huge. No matter what position it is, no matter what field we're in, diversity is a huge part of who we are as America. And there's no better place than the NBA. If you look at the NBA offices, it's scattered with diversity. The league is starting to move in a direction with the coaches of being more diverse. And it's just about opportunity. And everybody wants an equal playing field. And I think when you get an equal playing field, people from all backgrounds can rise to the occasion. So just being able to get the opportunity, thankful of the people that came before us, like my dad, who opened up a ton of doors for a ton of coaches. It's huge. And I think, he deserves a ton of credit for all of us being put in this position, because he had to knock down doors when things were very difficult. And socially and in the game, it wasn't always accepted that there could be a black man in position of leadership. So he knocked down some doors for us to get opportunity. So I'm very thankful of that and thankful to him.
JB Chandler said that he feels good. He's full go on that. It's, the point of his contract where it's time, as he put it, to let him rock. Is that basically the plan, to let him go hard and not hold him back until you see any reason to hold him back?
Yeah, he's going to be treated like everybody else. He's put the work in, he's put the time in, his body feels great. If he's playing at the level that we know he can play at when he's healthy, then there's no reason not to let him rock. So, what happens with him will be determined on how he plays and how his body holds up.
JB, I know on defense, you're planning to focus heavily on defense this year. Some of your predecessors have had in-game kind of goals, ways that you measure how your team is doing defensively. How are you going to be able to measure that in-game? What measures are you going to use to say, hey, this is where we need to pick it up?
Well, I think, going in, you obviously have to figure out what it is that you're willing to live with and what you're trying to take away. We're trying to combat where the league is going. The league wants to give up layups, and the league wants to take a bunch of threes. So we want to do a great job of protecting the rim and limiting opportunities from behind the three-point line, forcing teams into taking tough contested two-point shots. For us, that's pretty easy to gauge. You can see if you're giving up a ton of threes, or, teams are dicing your rim apart. But we want to force a team to take a bunch of contested twos, and we want to limit them to one possession. So we've got to be a great defensive rebounding team, and that's going to take all 5 guys on the floor. So those are very easy things for us to watch and see what's going on during the game, and be able to point out and make adjustments if needed.
How big was the evolution for Dylan Brooks from the first part of the year to the role he had the latter part of the season?
Experience is huge. For a guy who started out the season coming off the bench and then earned his way into the starting lineup, and then having to carry some of the offensive load at times. He showed that he can do it, and I think as a rookie, as a young player, as a second-round pick, that doesn't always happen in your first year. So we expect him to contribute because of that experience. This year going forward, he should be able to step more quickly because of that experience.
JB, can you talk about the new guys, Yuta Watanabe? Have you had a chance to watch him play in Summer League?
Yeah, I had an opportunity to watch him play. He's very skilled, has the ability to shoot the ball. He's got really good size. He has the ability to create his own shot and get to his spot. Anything, when you watch him with his teammates, any conversation that they have with him, you see him pick things up very quickly, and the game kind of translates easily for him. He is, what the modern NBA is. He's size, he's skill, and his ability to shoot the basketball.
I mean, you signed him with a two-way contract. How are you going to develop him this upcoming season?
We got a great staff, not only as the staff here with the Grizzlies, but the hustle staff that we're putting in place. They do a great job of developing players. And again, with him having the flexibility of, coming back and forth and practicing with us and those types of things, I think the two-way thing is really going to be good for him.
You mentioned being kind of different in this league. How much is that crucial in the West, with all the talent that seemed to kind of head this direction this offseason?
I mean, you got to stand out. You have to find a way to be unique in this league, especially like you said in the Western Conference. Because if everybody's playing copycat, I think everybody's seen that the Warriors they win the copycat game. So what can you do that maybe cause them some sort of matchup problems? What can you do versus the Rockets that's going to give them some difficulties? They've mastered the small ball. They've mastered the ability to take threes and knock those down. So if you're trying to copycat them, I think you're going to have a hard time. So you're going to have to find a way to be unique. You got to be confident in the fact and comfortable with the fact that you're going to be out on a limb. People are going to see, well, the entire league is doing this. Why aren't you doing that too? So you got to be comfortable with the fact that you believe in whatever it is that you're preaching. You got to be comfortable in the fact that different can work. It can be successful, and that's where our mindset is. It's just try not to be like everybody else. Let's be out on a limb a little bit, take a little bit of risk, and see what happens.
But to that end, JB, you're on offense. The past few seasons, the Grizzlies have been towards the bottom, both in field and 3 points attempted and made. Do you have a number in mind that, like, this is about how many we need to take and, how many we need to make, even just to get to the league average to accomplish the big goals? Not that you become a bomb away team, but...
Right. The number for us, I think, is going to change night by night. The way we see it and the way that we're teaching the game in our offensive system is, you take what shot is there and what shot is available. We'll play with three-point spacing. So if we can create, wide open shots from three, we're going to take wide open shots. If teams want to shut down the three-point line and give us the drive, then we're going to drive the ball to the basket, take layups and get fouled as much as we possibly can. So we're not going to dictate, how many threes we take. Obviously, I do believe we're a better shooting team this year than we've been in the past from top to bottom. So your number, your percentage should be better than league average. But we're not going into a game with a mindset of this is how many we need to take. We're going into a game with understanding we need to create as many open shots from wherever on the floor as we possibly can.
And it sounds like you're looking to draw contact when you go to the rim too.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the easiest points, the highest percentage shots are layups and then free throws, right? So we want to try to create as many of those opportunities as we can.
JB, what was your experience like in South Africa?